everyone. So the Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And although it was a tough loss, right? Lakers are now on a 4-game losing streak. They've been terrible since winning the in-season tournament. The one win that they've had since then was a Spurs win, in which they only won by 3 points. And that was a game that they almost collapsed and lost. But on a brighter note with the Timberwolves game, I will say I did appreciate and like the energy that we saw from the Lakers, especially without LeBron James in that game, for them to be competitive, even just staying within striking range for a majority of that game and even taking the lead in the third quarter. You know, you got to credit the Timberwolves. I mean, they look like a true contender this year. And even when the Lakers took the lead, they kept fighting. They got it right back. And, it was just this back and forth game until the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to kind of create that separation at the end. But the Lakers played much better than we've seen them play in just pretty much every game since the in-season tournament, right? And it's just like, it's been this tale of two teams almost. In the in-season tournament games, in those 7 games in which they went 7-0, they were a team that had this energy, that had this effort. You saw the intensity. You saw the defensive focus. You saw all of the things that were like, okay, man, like I can see them getting to the playoffs and being a team that just, can dominate the Western Conference if they play to that level. I mean, you're talking about they were the best defense. Even their offense was cruising in some areas. But you look at the regular season games, they're terrible offensively. They're 26th in offense, right? Defense was good. That was kind of the one thing that you could hang your cap on, but they haven't been good these last 6 games or 5 games that they've played since the in-season tournament, right? Like they're allowing and giving up nearly 120 points per game in that stretch. And that was the one thing, right? This was a team that could hang their hat on the defensive side of the basketball. This was a team that, yes, their offense could be very inconsistent and their offense struggles, but their defense is good enough to keep them in the games. And some of these games you have seen their defense keep them in it, but still, there's that stretch where they just get worn down and teams run away with it. And a lot of that is because of how bad our offense has been, right? Like all sports. Football is another great example, right? See some of these teams that have elite defenses, and they'll keep their team in the game only for so long if their offense isn't able to put points on the board. And it's the same thing for the Lakers, right? The defense is good enough to keep you competitive. And even if a team does get a lead, right, the defense can lock down enough to generate some level of offense, to generate just some consistency and some stops that kind of get you into it. But then you see the Lakers go on these 3-4 minute stretches where they won't score a single point, or it'll be a couple free throws, or they'll be one field goal in the last 4 minutes. And it's how are you supposed to win basketball games when that's the way you're performing? And the Lakers right now are 15-14. They take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, which the Thunder are a team that's been cruising, right? They're number 2 in the Western Conference. They've been playing really good basketball. They're on a 3-game win streak. And then to add insult to injury, it's this is not where we planned on being. I mean, a week and a half ago, it was looking the Lakers are coming. They made their statement. They won the in-season tournament. They're 5 games over 500. Good luck, right? And look, in many ways, I do still believe, hey, if the Lakers were to make the playoffs, right, I definitely think that they need a trade. I definitely think that they need a couple pieces. But even as currently constructed, right, let's say the Lakers made the playoffs. I'll still take my chances with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I still trust that they can beat most of the teams in the Western Conference in a 7-game series, right? Matchups are also a real thing. Matchups are obviously important, right? Depending on the team that you end up playing in the playoffs, the Lakers could win and maybe make the conference finals or something like that again, right? I just wouldn't bet on it, right? I wouldn't count on the Lakers doing that. I just have so much faith and belief in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, not so much the team right now. The team has just not looked good. They've really struggled. They've been very disappointing, which is not where we planned on being, right? Like, this is a team that this offseason, it looked like, oh man, good luck, right? This team is going to be excellent. This team is going to be dominant. They're super deep. They got so much size and versatility. And yes, in the playoffs, I do think that this team would look better, right? As scoring goes down, intensity picks up. We've seen what these Lakers look like in a playoff environment, and no one has beaten them yet. But we can't also hang our hat on that because you don't know, right, for certain. But it's never too late, right? You got to start with the next game in front of you. And the next game in front of you is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this would be a great game to win. The Lakers have been terrible on the road. Guess what? They're on the road. The Lakers have not been good against the upper echelon teams, right? Well, guess what? The Thunder are one of those teams, right? Like, this would be a good opportunity to have a bit of a statement win, a bit of a statement game of like, all right, look, we went in a slump. Slumps happen, right? Everyone has bad stretches. Let's get back in line. Let's get back in order. Let's get back in gear here. Let's go into Oklahoma City. Let's go beat the Thunder, right? Then after that, you got the Boston Celtics on Christmas Day, right? Lakers lockdown focus. You're at home. Lakers have been excellent at home. You got 2 home games coming up and the Christmas Day against the Celtics, and then you get a little bit of rest. And then on December 28th, you play the Charlotte Hornets at home. That should be another winnable game, right? If the Lakers can get this win against the Thunder, get to that 2-game home stretch, maybe we can bounce back and change the narrative here, change the conversation, change the discussion a little bit. Lakers beat the Thunder and the Celtics, conversation changes real quick, right? And then you got the Hornets, which the Lakers should beat the Hornets. They've been good against the bad teams, right? So all of a sudden you go on a 3-game win streak, you're pushing back up. Now you got to just close out the month against the Timberwolves and the Pelicans, both on the road. And then you have, something like 11 or 12 home games out of your next 13 or 14. Right? All of a sudden, everything could just be a completely different narrative. In January, you can start looking to start gaining that separation and climbing in the standings. Same breath, the opposite can happen. Lakers could easily lose to the Thunder. Now you're 500. You lose to the Celtics, right? Now you're below 500. Maybe you beat the Hornets, right? So now you're back to 500. And then you got to go and play the Timberwolves and the Pelicans on the road. The Timberwolves just beat you, right? And you're playing them at home again. It's hard to beat a team twice, especially in a week span or 9-day span. So maybe the Lakers can pull that out, but there's no guarantees. And then you got to play the Pelicans, who you just embarrassed in the in-season tournament. So now you're talking literally you could be 2 games under 500 going into January. And 2 weeks before that, the Lakers were the talk of the town. The Lakers were this team that they're coming, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right? It's just the fall from grace has happened very quickly, right? And look, obviously the in-season tournament is not the NBA championship. I'm not trying to claim that it is, but it was a good sort of indicator of what could happen. A nice little precursor of hey, look, the Lakers get a good visual of this right now because this could be coming, in a few months. And then it's just boom, cliff dive. And it's come on, man, are we joking? What's going on here? What are we doing here? Right? And it's unfortunate, but I don't know. Time will tell. I believe in the Lakers still. They definitely need a trade. They definitely have their struggles. They definitely have their concerns. No doubt about it. Right? But, again, all it takes is that one game. You get that game, you get that win, you get the confidence back up. It's quality win on the road against the Thunder, and now you're moving in the right direction, right? But you got to have a sense of urgency here. You got to. This game is a must win. You got to keep pace with the rest of the Western Conference. And on top of keeping pace with the rest of the Western Conference, you got to make sure that you continue to remain above 500. You do. No, Lakers are only 3 games out of 4th, right? It's not like we're, way out of reach right now, right? Lakers are sitting at the 9th seed, but they're only a game out of 5th, 2 games out of 6th, right? You go win this game, all of a sudden you're a game and a half out of 5th. Things can change. Again, things can change very quickly. But in the same breath, continue to just be a snowball. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you have faith in the Lakers? Do you believe that they'll get it done? Do you have your concerns? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below.